Hey everybody, this is 9.5.35 from the chapter 9 homework. And this one's kind of tough. It's kind of nasty actually, because I feel like the book doesn't spell out everything you need to get it done. Um, and and then there's some like weird quirks where it wants you to use the tables, but I think it's easier to use Excel, but then there's rounding issues if you use Excel. So there's all kinds of stuff that make me not real happy with this problem. But I'm going to go through it and see if I can help you figure out how to do it on yours. Um, so again, I'm going to start with what I already know. So my expected proportion, or the proportion I'm testing for, is 0.15, this number right here. My n, or my sample size, is 137. My alpha is 0.05. And then my p, or this, so it's a given p. When p is equal to 0.18, what will beta be? So my p is 0.18. All right, so I'm going to need these formulas. This formula is given in the book, but honestly, this formula, I had to go to the help me solve this to get this formula. It might be in the book, or it might be a derivative of something from earlier, but I had a hard time finding it when I was trying to work this out. So that's one of the things that I find a little frustrating. Um, Anyway, so in order to work this one first, the critical proportion, I need to find my critical z. So if I can type, um, my critical z is norm dot s dot inv for the probability of the alpha. Now, the problem with this, again, is that it's going to give me a negative z, and I want the absolute value of it. So I'm just going to do absolute value of that whole thing. So there's my critical z for this problem. And then I can solve for my critical proportion. Or the P alpha, as it's called here in this formula. You'll see that this P alpha can have a plus or minus, and that depends on what we're trying to find. So because our proportion is greater than 0.15, we just need to do the plus, um, or the positive version of this, the higher version, or I guess you'd call it the upper range of the critical P. Anyway, so the formula for this is going to be it calls it the pH sub 0. That's the expected proportion. And then I'm going to say plus my critical Z times the square root of my expected P times 1 minus expected. So there's the numerator divided by n. There's my critical P for that problem. The next thing I need to do is find my Z value given this value of P. So I'm just going to call it the Z value. And that is going to equal, so it's this formula here, my critical P. Actually, let me put that in parentheses. My critical P minus P, that's the numerator, divided by the square root of P times 1 minus P divided by n. So there's my Z value. So like I said, this is like a lot of layers and kind of complex. And so finally, to find my beta, what I have to do is find the probability of this happening. Now, I have one more problem, and that's that this problem wants us to use these tables rather than using Excel. So it's going to round this z value off to 2 decimals. And so even if I use the decimal, the rounding tool here in Excel, it'll show 0.61, but it will actually carry this way out. So I'm just retyping it rounded to 2 decimals over here, 0.61, and then my beta right here, right here is going to be norm.s.dist for this z-score of 0.61, and the cumulative is true. And that is the beta for p equals 0.18. 4 decimal places, 0.7291. And that's it. So I don't expect you to have a deep understanding of this. I would say get through it and move on, and don't worry about it being on the exam. I'm not a fan of this. Probably in the next iteration of the course, I will take this problem out, just because I feel like it's not clearly explained, and I'm not sure how much it really helps you understand the concepts you need to be successful at business statistics. There's a second part of the problem where it's just going to ask you to do the same thing, but for when p equals 20. What's nice about that is we've already got the formulas in there now, so I can alter that. But remember, because I have to do this rounding here to 2 decimals, I have to type that in as well. So my beta here is going to be 0.504. And there we go. All right, hopefully that helps. Maybe if it might not help you learn it, but it will at least will help you get through it. And if you want to talk about it more, we can set up a time and meet and actually talk about it. Anyway, good luck, and we'll talk to you another time.